printed and put out there for people to buy and purchase.
Absolutely.
But looking forward to this one. I've got a little bit of insight on Peter. He is a local Australian player, like we mentioned, and he has not been playing for the last 10 years or so is what the word has been that I have gotten. He's played in world championships in the past, but it has been a while, and he has really bursted onto this stage here. Like we said, 8-2-1, great place to be, and the fact that he's playing such a unique inclusion in his Reggie deck. Wait, hold on a second now, Boo.
Oh my goodness. I am panicking back here just looking at these prize cards. No, Chip. It is the dreaded 3 Reggies in the prize cards.
At least they're ones that he's got multiple of, right? So he'll still be able to make it work. And, of course, that Hisuian Heavy Ball will now be a live option for sure.
It's not 6, so we're still rolling here, Chip, that's for sure. All right, but it looks like these players are kicking off this match, so let's jump straight into our game here. Starting over here on Gustavo Wada's side for our Swiss round 12. Let's get into it, Chip, and we have a Lugia to start with that capture energy. So already off to a great start for Gustavo.
The classic start for the Lugia V-Star deck. Get the capture energy. We'll probably see a Rangaroo come down, actually eyeing up the Dunsparce. That is an important card in this matchup.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And the fact that Peter has started Regieleki, you know there is always the chance of the turn 1 Reggie attack. So Gustavo may want to choose to respect that possibility from Peter's deck and get out that Dunsparce right away.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why Reggie's has been thriving in this meta. As long as you can hit the right matchups and capitalize on weakness when you can from your different sets of Reggies, you're going to be sitting in a pretty nice spot here. But I'm sure Gustavo is no stranger to the Reggie matchup. I mean, I don't know. Some players choose not to respect it as much, but Gustavo is such a skilled player. I'm going to doubt that one, Chip.
And this is the hand that dreams are made of. Double Evolution Incense. Get 2 Archeops and have an Ultra Ball to close out the turn as well. This is absolutely perfect from Gustavo, and it's super key in this matchup as well because Peter, or generally Reggie decks, will be playing a decent count of Marnie in their list.
Absolutely. Sitting in Peter's spot right now, this is definitely a scary situation to be looking at because as we know famously from the Reggie decks, they can get caught up a little bit and get kind of clunky, so it really depends on your first turn if you can pop off, and we've seen that happen for Reggie multiple times as well. But seeing what your opponent is doing here on Gustavo's side of the field is definitely scary. We have the Luminion down there to search out the Professor's Research. This is just going great.
Yeah, and I think this is smart from Gustavo as well, using Luminion now before Peter has a chance to put Path to the Peak in play.
Yes.
Really wise. Make that
huge
decision so that you can have that research prepped in your hand. Now, Peter here does have an interesting choice. We've talked about the main card in this deck, the thing that makes this Reggie deck unique, and that is that Radiant Jirachi. He's got a Twin Energy in his hand. He's got a Scoop Up Net and a Quick Ball. Boo, are we going to be seeing that Radiant Jirachi right away to start this game?
You know, I'm going to say that Gustavo probably is not expecting that Radiant
yes,
oh my
there
gosh,
it is.
We're going for it.
The Radiant Jirachi. It's Astral Misfortune attack. You flip 2 coins, and if both of them are heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is knocked out. What a unique inclusion in the Reggie deck. I mean, this is not something you would ever expect to see because this Reggie engine relies so heavily on having all 6 of the different Reggie Pokemon in play. So why would you ever include something like this? Peter said, you know what, we'll roll with it. And if I flip double heads, I get a lucky knockout. If I don't and it stays in the active, my opponent knocks it out eventually. And I'll get that Entrusted Wishes ability in order to set up and search my deck for any 3 cards.
Yeah, I guess just maybe relying on... oh, maybe I'll get lucky. Relying on the RNG there, playing that Radiant Jirachi, and I absolutely love it. You love to see little inclusions like that you would never expect to see in something, especially like Reggie. But here we go, that Radiant Jirachi getting a Twin Energy attached, which is going to be just enough for that Astral Misfortune. Are we going to see a double heads, Chip?
I mean, if Peter hits the double heads here, Gustavo is going to be so far behind immediately. He went and got out the Dunsparce to respect the turn 1 Reggie attack, but there's not much you can do to respect the turn 1 Radiant Jirachi.
No, absolutely not. And I'm sure now Gustavo is saying, well, this could be bad. But here we go. Continuing to play the Reggie down onto the bench here. We have 4 of the 6
Here it
in
is.
play now. But here we go. Let's see.
2 coins flipped.
Oh,
off the table.
Oh my gosh! No way, Chip. I mean, these are heads though.
No,
off
that
the
doesn't
table.
count. We gotta keep it on the table.
No, that totally doesn't count. But it is pretty funny there. All right. Let's try this again, Peter.
First one. Oh, and it is a tails. No, the first flip is a tail, so no reason to flip that second coin. And Gustavo can breathe a sigh of relief.
Yeah, you see both of these players kind of laughing a little bit because it is just something that you'd never expect to see, and it's just kind of adding a little bit of comedic relief, I suppose, to the game.
A little bit outrageous, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Definitely. But here we go, still continuing on with this turn here for Peter. We have a scoop up net, what was about a boss's orders and a choice belt, but so really nothing can be played out of that hand, and we're back over to Gustavo's side of the field.
Does grab that Oranguru out. This means that Gustavo won't have a bench space for something like the Manaphy right now, something that can be really important in this matchup. And Gustavo does not yet have a Lugia V-Star. He has to play a Marnie, and he's going to be relying on these 5 cards to find an out to that Lugia V-Star in order to pull off that Summoning Star V-Star power.
Oh, no. 2 energies, a boss, an Evolution Incense, and a Lugia. So they're saved by the single card in that hand there, that Evolution Incense. Thank goodness here, because that would have been a sticky situation for sure. It's always risky with the Marnie because you do only get 5 cards off of that. But here we go. We're rolling now with that Lugia V-Star in the active position.
And this is where the Jirachi is actually going to pay off pretty decently for Peter. He got to go for that turn 1 play. It didn't work out. And his opponent has played a Marnie, which could disrupt the Reggie deck massively. But if Gustavo does KO this Radiant Jirachi, that means that Peter is going to be able to search the deck for any 3 cards he would like and put them directly into the hand. So he can set up with a Research, a Marnie, get a boss's orders even maybe to take out the Dunsparce. He's got plenty of options there.
And you don't even lose one of your Reggie, you know?
Exactly.
So it's like you don't even have to worry about it. I wonder if this is now going to be a popular inclusion in the Reggie deck.
Not sure that we're going that far. We'll see. I mean, maybe it depends on how far Peter goes with this event, and it's been an excellent start for him thus far. Came into the day at 6-2-1, and now 1-2 in a row, and he's in a good spot here. It looks like Gustavo will be going for that Luminion's Aqua return.
Yeah, we did already see that Summoning Star as well, bringing out those 2 Archeops on to the bench here too. So we're jumping straight into those Primal Turbos already. Getting those energy out. Of course, there is 2 powerful in the hand, so those aren't coming out.
And Gustavo will just push up this Lugia V-Star, knowing that it cannot be KO'd, and Peter's going to have this opportunity. Search for any 3 cards into his hand.
That's nice.
This will pretty much guarantee that he's going to be attacking this turn.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it like that. It adds so much consistency with that ability of the Entrusted Wishes here. So what do you think Peter's going to be going for? I guess I didn't get to see the hand. But actually, no, the hand was pretty dead.
It depends. Yeah, so we'll probably be seeing a supporter of some sort. And Peter actually does play a couple of tech supporters in the list. We see him eyeing up that one Zinnia's Resolve. And I think that is probably included for this reason. You know, off this Entrusted Wishes, he theoretically could just grab double Aurora plus the Zinnia's Resolve, and boom, all of a sudden, you're drawing a bunch of cards and putting your 2 Aurora energies directly into the discard pile.
Yeah, that would be absolutely huge. So here we go. I think it may have been a research there that Peter decided to grab out of the deck, but hey, you got 3 any card you want here. And with the Reggie deck, you want to see a lot of discard, drawing more cards, getting all those energies into the discard pile to line up these Reggies for our future turns. So Peter's in a good spot here.
Absolutely, and did grab a scoop up net there, I think, as well. This could signify that we may be seeing the targeted bolt from the Astral Radiance Regieleki. There is no Manaphy in play for Gustavo, so that would be a great opportunity to take out that Dunsparce. Or is that the Terra Spark Regieleki in hand?
No, that is the Terra Spark one, yeah. The artworks are so similar, Chip, so I always focus on the art because the
this is just ridiculous. Peter's going for the Jirachi again. This is not happening. No way.
Wait, Ordinary Rotting the Jirachi.
Yes. And quick balling it down, grab the scoop up net so he could get back into the Jirachi once more.
You know, I was actually thinking about this, Chip. I was like, I wonder if we're going to see the Jirachi come back later on with the Ordinary Rod. I didn't realize it'd be the next turn, though. So that is absolutely amazing. And, of course, the Twin Energy has already been replaced back onto that Radiant Jirachi as well, which that means we're going to be seeing some more attacking from this Radiant Jirachi here from Peter.
This is just getting outrageous, Boo. This is not what we would have expected to see, but Peter is trying to put on a show for us here, I believe.
Is this a Reggie deck or a Radiant Jirachi deck, Chip?
the question we're all searching for the answer to.
But here we go. We're going to see that Professor's Research. So discarding one of those Regieleki there and a Speed Lightning Energy. So we're going to jump into a fresh 7 cards. Always nice to see.
Yep, great to refill that hand. Does hit the Hisuian Heavy Ball. We know there was a decent amount of Reggie's prized. Yeah. So honestly, in a spot like this is where Hisuian Heavy Ball is really strong because you have your pick, right? You can get any of these Reggies out. You've got a bunch in play already. So let's go with that Hisuian Heavy Ball and see which one we want to get into the hand. Regidrago seems like a good choice with Registeel already in the hand.
Yeah, absolutely. Regidrago, there's Regigigas, but gonna go with the Regice there.
Yeah, it goes with the Regice. I mean, does have that Astral Misfortune to rely on once again from the Radiant Jirachi if he wants to next turn. So could fetch a few different things. And I mean, yeah, we're going to be seeing that Astral Misfortune once again, and we'll see if Gustavo's on the bad end of the misfortune here. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. But still lots of cards that could potentially come down here from Peter's hands. Debating whether or not to bench the Registeel here.
Yeah, I think it's fair to put it down. Gustavo, of course, playing a few Marnie himself, so get that Pokemon out of your hand onto the bench. You're going to need it next turn regardless, right?
Yeah, most definitely. I think just putting those Reggie down, I think that was the choice belt coming down to the Regieleki.
That's a heads.
One more?
One more. Flip, and it's another heads, taking out the Lugia V-Star from Gustavo Wada. What a turn for Peter. Quick balling, the ordinary rotting, back the Jirachi, quick balling it back into play, grabbing the twin. I mean, that is a big time play there from Peter Ghionis.
Peter Ghionis absolutely representing Australia out here with that incredible Radiant Jirachi play. You love to see it. So now it is up to Gustavo to respond to that. And I don't think Gustavo was expecting that either, Chip.
No, I don't think he was expecting it. I mean,
I
don't think he was expecting it to come back, right?
Yeah,
I think once he dealt with the Radiant Jirachi, he's like, okay, my opponent gets their chance to set up. Okay, that's fine. They're going to hit me with Regieleki this turn. Nope.
Not again.
Peter just goes and grabs the Jirachi. Now, this is where things can get a little tricky. Gustavo does have a boss's orders in his hand, so he can take this opportunity to bring up a Reggie Pokemon from Peter's bench, take it out. That way you don't give your opponent the entrusted wishes from Jirachi to search things out, and now the Jirachi could remain stuck in play for a couple of turns.
Yeah, also knowing that the Regice was drawn out of the prize cards as well on Peter's side, so probably wanting to target down maybe something that is going to have a more difficult time coming back because obviously Peter's just holding that Regice in the hand still. So here we go. We're going to see the energy being drawn out of the deck here from the first Primal Turbo. Actually, I think that was both Primal Turbo there because it's 3 energy.
Exactly.
So we're going to have the Aurora, the Powerful, and the Hiding Dark Energy as well.
Boss's orders in hand. I think the Regieleki seems like a good thing to bring up here. Take out that choice belt before your opponent has an opportunity to deal with your Dunsparce, something along those lines. And sure enough, Speedwing will pick up that KO.
All right, so Regieleki hitting that discard pile. Gustavo Wada going down a prize card there, and that Radiant Jirachi is being just re-promoted back into the active position.
So Peter does play 4 Scoop Up Net, so pretty good chance to get this Jirachi out of play, but he's burned 2 this game already. He's going to need to find one of those remaining 2 if he wants to attack with one of his Reggie Pokemon here. I mean, you know, the way things have been going, maybe Peter just wants to keep swinging with this Jirachi. You never know.
Yeah, just keep putting it up there and hoping to take some knocks. And if you don't, you get to draw some cards. Quite nice.
But he's eyeing up a Serena, and that could. I mean, are we ever going for the Serena Luminion play? That's ridiculous. There's no way.
Oh my goodness. Guess we'll have to see what happens here, Chip. That looks like a capture energy.
Yeah, this could grab him out one of the other Reggie Pokemon he needs. We do know that one Regidrago is prized, so could grab the other one out of the deck here.
Yeah, I think that would be a solid choice, but ooh, just going back.
Regidrago already on the bench.
Yeah, you're right. Regidrago's already there. So going in for another Regieleki. Is there only the Terra Spark Regieleki in the deck, Chip?
Yeah, looking at this list, it does look like he is playing 3 copies of this Terra Spark Regieleki, so it does not have that targeted bolt option. That would honestly have been a decent play here. Maybe take out that Oranguru on your opponent's bench.
Yeah.
But, I mean, to be honest, just dealing with this Archeops seems pretty good. It does take away your opponent's options.
Absolutely. All right, so here we go. Initiating a Marnie here on Peter's side. So both players going to shuffle up their hands, put it to the bottom. Gustavo's going to draw 4 cards. Peter's going to be drawing 5 here. So let's see if these 5 can be played this turn.
Looking for a Scoop Up Net and a Registeel. I actually do think Peter needs to draw 1 more card here as well. Only drew 4 off of that Marnie. Yeah, here we go.
All right, just another energy it looks like as well. I don't know actually how many energy are currently in the discard pile either, Chip.
Yeah, I think there is an Aurora and a Speed Lightning at least, and we know there's a twin.
True.
Okay, we're just going for the flips. Here we go.
My
1
gosh.
heads and another heads! This Jirachi is putting the whole team on its back right now.
Oh my goodness. Never did I think I would
mean, even
see.
Peter can't believe it.
Yes, absolutely. This Radiant Jirachi doing so much work here for Peter, taking out an Archeops that had all that energy attached to it on Gustavo's side here. And Gustavo is just on the back foot again, losing another potential attacker here with all those energy. That Luminion being promoted into the active position here. And here we go. We do see that amazing rare Evital coming out.
And it's pretty interesting as well because Amazing Rare Evital, its amazing destruction attack doesn't, you know, it knocks out your opponent's active Pokemon, but it doesn't do any damage. And the way that Jirachi's ability is worded, it only lets you search for those extra cards when it is knocked out by damage from an attack. So the Amazing Rare Evital could actually be a kind of a cute way for Gustavo to try to get around the Jirachi. But with this Escape Rope being played, I think we're going to see maybe something else be an option.
Yeah, here we go. So Escape Rope, Archeops coming up after the Regidrago is also promoted. Going in for another Primal Turbo, but we gotta be thinking about the energy at this point. So many of them are in the discard pile now, but we have a powerful energy. And looks like a couple energy in hand here for Gustavo as well. I think it was another powerful and a capture energy too.
Not only do we need to be thinking about the energies that are getting hit into the discard pile, but we need to be thinking about the energy acceleration through the rest of this game, because Gustavo's already lost 1 Archeops. This is a second Archeops in play right now that he's choosing to attack with this turn.
That's dangerous.
It is very dangerous. It is going to require Peter, I think we need to be done with the Jirachi at this point. I think we got to Scoop Up Net this guy out of play. I mean, he's got to promote it now, right? He's at least got the free retreat option.
Yeah, at this point, it's like, okay, I'm so far ahead. Let's pivot into playing Reggie now, potentially here. So we are going to start off with that Speed Lightning energy here on Peter's side. Drawing into 2 cards, one of them being that Choice Belt.
And one of them being that Scoop Up Net, so we can see Radiant Jirachi cleared out of play. The question for me, though, is can he get all the other Regi Pokemon out that he needs?
This would get the Regidrago.
No, he's taken all of the Regis off the prizes.
Oh, yeah, you're right, from the prizes.
So I actually think he may miss an attack here. And, I mean, if you're missing an attack, I think we're going with Jirachi once again.
This is definitely not how I expected to cast a Regi match, but I'm not upset with it, honestly, Chip.
This is
throwing us for a loop here.
He's got a boss's orders in hand and is thinking about playing it.
Oh, we're gonna see the boss on the Luminion.
This is an all-in play right here from Peter. This is just getting out of hand. If he flips the double heads here, I just don't even know what to do.
There's one.
Oh, and the tails on the second flip. Radiant Jirachi. And Gustavo just cannot even believe it. This is outrageous, Boo. I cannot believe what is happening at this point in the tournament as well.
I am cracking up here, Chip. I did not expect this at all, but hey, I am not upset whatsoever. This has been an absolute treat of a match so far. All right, we are over here on Gustavo's side. I'm sure breathing a sigh of relief that there was a tails there. That would have been, I think, some Pokemon TCG history if that was a heads.
Without a doubt.
For sure. So here we go. Gustavo, that Archeops is safe another day, as well as the Luminion, too, which could have been another 2 prize cards to Peter if things had turned out that way. But starting off with the Primate Wisdom,
Gustavo is in a decent spot here. If he can maybe set up another Lugia V-Star, try to get some energy onto it next turn, let that be his closing out attacker potentially, that would be really strong. It, of course, would not get hit by the weakness, but for now, it's actually going to be Lumineon and Boss, and this is really solid as well. The problem is that his only thing that can knock out these Reggie Pokemon... Oh, no, he does. There is that Regieleki in play with the 120 hit points. So this is actually really solid. Can boss that up, take a knockout, take a 2-prize Pokemon out of play. It will leave Lumineon V on the bench, but Peter's just burned a boss's orders.
Yeah, absolutely. And as well, you're recycling those energy, too, which is pretty important to be consistently reserving your resources here. So that's what we are going to see. Another Regieleki hitting the discard pile there for Peter. Gustavo, Wada going down to 2 prize cards. We're over here back to Peter's side. That Radiant Jirachi, of course, being promoted into the active. Let's see what's in the hand for Peter that can potentially save this turn here.
Yeah, Peter needs to take a knockout this turn and then hope Gustavo does not Aqua Return his Lumineon on the next turn, and then maybe try to find a Serena to close out the game. I think that Peter definitely needs to scoop up net this Jirachi out of play. If he's just playing, this is ridiculous here. We're just going with the Marnie. We're keeping Jirachi hanging around. Peter's trying to ride on the back of this Wish Pokemon.
I was about to say, this is just a strategy that Peter's opted to go with.
Yeah, sticking with it,
So it's... Well, what are we going to do here? We are going to see that Ordinary Rod. This is great. You know, I think it was, all Regieleki in the discard pile now. So at least we get to see 2 of them come out of there, shuffled back into the deck, which is quite nice.
Yeah, it's going to be 2 Regieleki as the grab, and there is a Quick Ball waiting in the hand, and Aurora Energy is a pretty quick and easy discard as well.
So one of those Regieleki will stay out here for Peter. I love both of these players are going pretty smoothly through their actions, you know, taking multiple actions like Lumineon and Boss at the same time. It just saves a lot of time and makes it a little bit more entertaining for us because we get to just keep rolling through these matches, so that's quite nice.
Keep rolling through the matches and keep rolling these coins, keep rolling the dice, trying to hit some heads on Astro Misfortune.
Here we go, Chip, speaking of which.
The first flip is a heads. Let's see if we can get another.
That's
and it is a heads! Absolutely ridiculous. 3 double heads in this match for Peter.
Oh my goodness. That is absolutely wild here.
So the thing is, though, I mean, this is incredible for Peter. He's pulled off something statistically improbable, but I think Gustavo is still in a really strong spot. He's going to get the Aqua Return KO on this Radiant Jirachi this turn, go down to just 1 prize card left, and take all of his multi-prize Pokemon out of play, leaving Peter with 2 prizes and no way to close out the game. Even though he'll get a chance to search for any 3 cards, there's not a combination of 3 cards that he plays that get him the win.
Yeah, if we could have seen a knockout on that Archeops, that would have been pretty detrimental on Gustavo's side of things because then we wouldn't see all of the acceleration of these energy, but that is not what we got to see. That turn was the tails anyway, so that Lumineon was safe for a turn. I think just missing that 1-turn attack was pretty brutal there on Peter's side.
And this is smart from Gustavo as well, trying to burn just all these cards out of his deck so that if his opponent does Marnie, he's got plenty of options of ways to get everything he needs. And I like benching the Radiant Charizard as well, as that is an easy way to close this game out, just needing an Aurora Energy to attack, even if your opponent does find a boss KO on your Archeops.
Absolutely. Benching that Charizard down. We saw the Lost Vacuum here, discarding a card into the Lost Zone, getting rid of that Choice Belt on Peter's side as well. And then we just went straight into a Marnie as well, and that was great for Gustavo. There's only 1 card in hand, so drawing into a bunch of other cards. And that is what we're going to be seeing. Another Lumineon V Aqua Return, shuffling everything back into the deck here. And that Radiant Jirachi is going to go down.
Yep, Jirachi does go down. But Peter gets to search for 3 cards, and I think Peter's best play here is to try and boss KO Archeops. If you can boss up, KO the Archeops, and then also put Path to the Peak in play,
that'd be huge,
that will turn off the Excited Heart ability of Radiant Charizard, and it will take that energy acceleration away from Gustavo. At that point, though, you are just going to be crossing your fingers and hoping that Gustavo does not have the answer, but off Gustavo's own Marnie, I mean, hey, the chances aren't the highest.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. You know, you only get to draw into 5 cards there, so you never know if they're going to have the responses needed to both have the energy and bump a stadium as well. So we'll have to see how this plays out. But Peter Ghionis here definitely has well, I think it was a huge hand, but now, of course, off that Marnie, just a couple of cards. But going back into the deck here.
Yeah, I think as long as both boss, one boss has been played.
So 3 cards are still being drawn here off of that Radiant Jirachi.
And boss was one of the grabs.
Yeah, exactly. So here we go. Regigigas being promoted into the active position here, and we're going to see the draw for turn.
Draw for turn, and Path to the Peak is a great card to have. Boss's Orders as well, and we know all those Regi Pokemon were searched out.
Here we go.
This is the play. This is the hope. The best chance for Peter to win this game. Bring up Archeops, target down that Energy Excel, and it's going to be on to Gustavo. Can he get rid of this Path to the Peak, and can he find an Aurora Energy to attack with Radiant Charizard and win the game with Combustion Blast?
Yeah, that is absolutely huge here. Ancient Wisdom coming into play to get those energy out of the discard pile, charge up this Regigigas. That Registeel was hiding a bit on the bench there, but here we go. It is all in play. Archeops will go down here. Peter Ghionis going down to only 1 prize card left. Gustavo also at 1 prize card. Can we see it?
He has the stadium to get rid of the path. And a 1-to-1 game ends with Gustavo Wada closing it out with Radiant Charizard.
But that was incredibly close there, Chip. Incredibly close. And that was such an entertaining game as well.
If nothing else, of course. Wow, what a show Peter was able to put on for us. But Gustavo showing that even when you find yourself in unlikely scenarios, intelligent play can help you navigate your way to victory.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, you just come out on the short end of the stick with those die rolls, but I feel like Peter, I'm so curious if we get to speak to Peter later, how often the strategy is to lean so heavily into the Radiant Jirachi. But one of the things is I hear the crowd out there cheering every time we see those heads flips. I would assume maybe Peter has a local crew here, obviously being from Australia as well. I wonder if a little bit of the strategy is just, like you said, Chip, let's give him a show here.
He's showing out for the crowd here. You gotta love to see it. Big thanks to Peter for that, and can't wait to see what'll happen in this game too. That was a pretty long game 1 though, taking up over half the time allotted for a round. So we're gonna need to kind of fire through things here for Peter on his end if he is hoping to take this to a game 3 and eventually win this match.
Absolutely, and we'll see, we'll get into these prize cards here in a second, at least on Gustavo's side. See what these players have prized. Ooh, that is a 1-1 Lugia. Lugia V-Star, I don't know the counts. Oh no, look at that. Well, we do still have the heavy ball, so not the worst case scenario here. But
it does play 3 Regigigas as well.
Oh, okay, so we're cruising, Yeah,
still okay.
Lots of energy though here on Gustavo's side.
Yeah, not the best prizes for either player, but nothing game ending immediately, nothing too terribly detrimental.
Yeah, as long as you're drawing into some prize cards, you can kind of balance things out here with this. So let's get into our game 2 here in our Swiss round 12. The first one was so great, and I have a feeling this is also going to be a very entertaining game for us as well. Starting over on Gustavo's side here, so Peter opting to go second, and Gustavo, let's see if we can see a nice setup here. Of course, starting that Lumineon V, and when you start it in the active, you can't utilize that Luminous Sign ability, but the Lumineon V also has a lot of utility outside of that ability in these matchups as well. So not the worst case ever for Gustavo. And here we go. We are going to see that Lugia V on this first turn here.
Yeah, I mean, of course you would choose to go second as Peter. If you go second, you can use Jirachi on turn 1 if you go second.
Yeah, you can knock out whatever you want, potentially. Yep, definitely. Oranguru coming down here on Gustavo's side of the field as well. We're probably going to be seeing some Primate Wisdom action.
Yeah, this can be great to prep a card on top of your deck in case your opponent does play one of their 3 Marnie on turn 1. Exactly what we see Gustavo doing, putting a Lugia V-Star on top of the deck. With a couple quick balls played, that's normally really solid for the Lugia player on turn 1, but no Archeops in the discard pile quite yet.
Not yet, but we did see at least a manual attach to that powerful energy, and now we're over on Peter's side, starting with that Regidrago, Regieleki, and Registeel being benched pretty quickly here down. Let's see what else is in the hand. Of course, Peter does have access to a supporter going second. We're going to see a nice capture energy.
Capture energy means no turn 1 Jirachi.
Yes, that's
Can't
very
attach
true.
That twin energy. Come on, Peter. Step it up.
Yeah, step it up, Peter. What is the strat here? What are you, just playing Reggie now? Oh my goodness, no. But here we go, going into the deck off that capture energy. So, of course, sorting through the deck and also making sure you kind of see what's missing out of there.
Nope, we're still getting the Jirachi.
Are you serious?
No energy, but we'll get the Jirachi, no problem. Just put it in the front, and yeah, we'll let it get KO'd and set up with the Entrusted Wishes. Here we go.
Exactly. I guess the Entrusted Wishes, I mean, it just adds so much consistency to the Reggie deck. So we haven't seen any issues as far as bricking or anything on Peter's side, and I think it has to do with how this deck was really built. We're going to see the scoop up net, Jirachi jumping into the active there.
And I think a Marnie is maybe the follow-up here. It does have Zinnia's Resolve and Serena as options as well. So may opt to go with the Serena and doesn't want to disrupt Gustavo's hand. And I actually like this decision from Peter. It's a pretty heads-up play, knowing that your opponent did not discard any Archeops. So, I mean, yeah, Peter should know Gustavo does not have an Archeops in the hand because he used 2 Quick Balls. He obviously would have discarded Archeops if he could have.
Absolutely. So we're going to see the discard, drawing up to 5 cards in the hand. Hisuian Heavy Ball being one of those cards. So we are going to see that Regigigas being brought out of the prize cards here and replaced with that Heavy Ball.
Yeah, the turn 1 6 Pokemon in play for Reggie is what most people dream of, but can't use Ancient Wisdom just yet.
Nope, not yet. That Radiant Jirachi's taking up one of those slots there, shuffling up the prize cards here, placing them back down.
Does move that Boss's Orders up to the top of the prizes. That's a card that could be a big deal, so something we'll have to track. He may play Heavy Ball once again later on in this game, and if so, that'll rearrange the prizes once more.
Absolutely. So here we go. Passed over to Gustavo's side
and
of the
does
field.
play a Marnie as well. That's all he's got for a supporter for the turn. Off of 5 cards, needs to find a way to get some Archeops down.
Absolutely. Let's see if this hand is forgiving here for Gustavo. Hopefully we see some playable cards here.
I do see an Ultra Ball and an Archeops, but is there a way to get down 2 Archeops? And I don't quite think so.
Yeah, it's always a tough situation to be in. I feel like so many of these games where we see only 1 Archeops in play, it sometimes doesn't go too well. What happened, Chip?
He used Primate Wisdom and drew an Ultra Ball. So this actually could allow Gustavo to get off the double Archeops here. The problem is that it will send him to a 0-card hand.
Yes, and that is for sure very risky. Of course, we do, I guess, have the potential for the Primate Wisdom, but even that's not really going to get you too far there. So, but hey, opting for the consistency of getting these Archeops out into the discard pile.
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting to see what happens here for Gustavo. He's going down to 0 cards. He can get out the Dunsparce, which is nice. That will, of course, prevent the weakness. But is that even the best thing to grab when you know you're going to have a 0-card hand? Do you just prep a Luminion in the hand, potentially?
Yep. That is a tough situation. I think that's what it's potentially going to be.
This is risky, though, with no Dunsparce in play and the fact that you're giving Peter access to the Entrusted Wishes. He could just find a Gusting card and a Boss's Orders in order to take out this Lugia V-Star.
No. Yeah, this is definitely a scary situation to be in for sure. When you're just giving your opponent some free cards here that you never would have expected to be doing. But here we go. That Luminion is going to be played down. A Marnie searched out there off of it. And then we are going to see that Summoning Star getting not 1, but 2 Archeops out. And, of course, that Primal Turbo.
Yep, making an Archeops sandwich for us there on the bench. And we'll see where the other 2 energies go. Could prep them maybe on the Luminion, could put a Capture Energy maybe on an Archeops so that it becomes a pivot for you next turn potentially, or even loading up the Lugia. I think maybe prepping one on the Archeops, though, seems best. Just give yourself that pivot. I'm wondering what Gustavo's going to promote here. I'm thinking it's most likely going to be the Oranguru sent to the active, and that is indeed the choice.
There you go, Chip. That is what's going down here. So that Radiant Jirachi is going to be knocked out, enacting that Entrusted Wishes over on Peter's side. So we are going to be seeing some search through the deck there before something else is promoted into the active position. But of course, that also means Gustavo Wada taking the first prize card here in our game 2 of our round 12 as well. So here we go. Let's see what Peter chooses to get here. 3 cards. that is more than enough, I feel, to line up a hand. And obviously, this is off of, I believe it was a Marnie too, yeah. So
Yes.
Peter's working with a fresh hand of 4 as well off that Marnie too. And of course, the draw for turn.
And I think one of the cards he drew off Marnie as well was an Ultra Ball, an excellent card to hit because you could grab 2 Aurora Energy right here, put them both into the discard pile with that Ultra Ball, and Ultra Ball can grab you out any Pokemon you may need in order to get off your Ancient Wisdom.
Yep, that is very nice, Chip.
Now the question for me is, do we want to go for boss and take out a Lugia or even the Luminion potentially, or do you try to set up a little bit? Peter's hand does not currently have a supporter in it, so I think that it would probably be a little better, a little bit more conservative, but a little bit stronger to go for a supporter, a draw supporter. Try to fill your hand up and maybe look to get a boss or Serena KO later on in the game.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I never know which way Peter's going to go, though. Because
he does keep us guessing.
Yes, Peter seems like a very surprising player here that we've been watching. A risky player, I guess you could say as well. I mean, just slotting Radiant Jirachi into your deck is a risk in itself. So it's awesome to see, though.
All right, this is kind of a happy medium choice, I think, that Peter went with. He chose to grab a Speed Lightning Energy and Boss's Order. So he'll use the Speed Lightning Energy, add a couple of cards to the hand, and then still be able to go for Boss's Orders. So he's hoping off of his top deck for turn, plus his draw from Speed Lightning, plus his top deck for next turn, that'll get him into a way to draw more cards.
Absolutely. I think I saw there is that Regirock in the hand, at least.
So we'll see how he sequences things out. He does need the Regigigas. It's the one that is missing, but we see Quick Ball and Ultra Ball being in this hand.
Yeah, which is very nice.
And I think I do like the decision here to Quick Ball before playing the Speed Lightning Energy. That way you can get that Regi out of the deck and then increase your chances to find maybe a supporter for next turn.
Absolutely. You want to make sure that whatever cards you're drawing into, it's the ones that you want the most. So
and
here we go.
That top card as well was the Regigigas. So that's an instance where it really pays off to Thin, because if Peter had just gone with the Speed Lightning right away, he'd have drawn Regigigas. And that's not what he needed right now. He needed a supporter for next turn or just some other option that's not a Pokemon. He's got plenty of Pokemon Search available already in hand.
Absolutely. Fantastic sequencing, honestly, from both of these players. Definitely taking their time, mapping out these turns, and it's been pretty flawless so far. All right, so we're going to see some drawing off of this Speed Lightning Energy. 2 cards for Peter here. Ooh, 2 energy.
Yeah, it does not find a supporter, though, for next turn, but a Speed Lightning could allow him to get another Regieleki and then use Speed Lightning once again, try to draw some more cards. And, of course, we assume he will be able to promote Regidrago next turn as well.
All right, here we go. Boss's Orders coming into play on Peter's side.
So Peter, I don't think, has Choice Belt, so cannot knock out the Lugia V-Star, or does he have Choice Belt? Yeah, if he's bringing this up, I think he's got, oh no,
no, I don't
have
see
the
the Choice Belt.
Okay.
No. I don't see the Choice Belt, but we are going to be popping off here with that Ancient Wisdom. Of course, all 6 Regi are now in play.
Yeah, I think it would have been really strong to take 2 prizes this turn, get rid of that Luminion, because what Gustavo can now do is retreat this Lugia to the bench and then put Manaphy in play. All of a sudden, you don't have a great option to like Terra Spark and clean this Pokemon up. Now, oh no, Manaphy's in the discard pile already for Gustavo, excuse me. Yeah, so with that being gone, this is actually a pretty decent play from Peter, because now he'll be able to, later on in the game, Terra Spark and maybe clean this Lugia up. We do know, however, Gustavo plays the Collapsed Stadium, so he could discard this Pokemon from play.
All right, so over here on Gustavo's side, we're going to see that Marnie that we also saw searched out last turn off of that Luminion. So being enacted here, we're going to see a fresh 5 cards for Gustavo. Some damage all across the field here now. I feel like this could really turn either way for these players.
Yeah, it's definitely not over just yet. I mean, I think Gustavo could definitely attack with the Luminion here, put that back into the deck. And we actually do see that Collapsed Stadium is in the hand, but the only other Pokemon that he has currently is Pumpkaboo. I don't think he wants to be putting that down.
Yeah, very true.
It might be his best play, though. Just retreat into this Luminion and put the Pumpkaboo down and still discard this Lugia V-Star, deny those 2 prizes, and effectively erase your opponent's entire last turn.
Yeah, Collapsed Stadium has been doing that for a long time here now. Of course, limiting each player's bench to 4 Pokemon, which honestly is fantastic against a Reggie deck as well, because it just makes your opponent eliminate one of the Reggie too, which here we go, that collapsed stadium coming into play. Lugia V-Star not being taken out last turn, so now it is off the field, out of reach, because all that damage has been wiped, essentially disregarding the last turn that we just saw from Peter, and then straight into another Aqua return, which is going to take a knockout here on that Regieleki and just be shuffled straight back into the deck with all that energy as well. So Lumineon is now off the field too.
And let's also not forget that this is going to disrupt Peter. He now needs to find a way to disrupt and get this collapsed stadium out of play, because officially right now his bench is full.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to be relying on this Dragon's Horde for one card to get him out of this spot. He's really going to be looking for a supporter here.
Oh, that is going to be really tough here.
Yeah, Peter's,
one card to draw.
As I'm looking through this list and just kind of realizing exactly how Peter has built this deck, he actually does not have any gift energy in his list, which has recently become a staple inclusion in these Reggie decks because of how strong it is after you get KO'd. For instances exactly like this. Your opponent plays Marnie, then takes a knockout. Boom, you get your gift energy, you fill your hand back up. You're working with an 8-card hand all of a sudden as soon as you draw for turn. Peter just doesn't play that. He's relying on the Jirachi to get him there, get him set up in the early game, and just hoping he can draw well enough in the late game.
Yeah, that is definitely a very popular. I feel like almost every Reggie deck that I see plays the gift energy because it just eliminates so much clunkiness of the deck. But here we go. It's just going to be that Dragon's Horde into a quick ball.
And that would allow him to get the Reggie Gigas, but remember, cannot put it in play.
Collapsed Stadium is still there. Peter would have had to have some sort of stadium bump as well. So it's just going to be a pass back to Gustavo here.
This does make things a little awkward for Gustavo. Pumpkaboo he's a big boy. He's a big pumpkin. He's got 2 retreats, so a little awkward to get out of the active spot.
True.
And there's really nothing in play that I think Gustavo wants to attack with immediately. It might have to be an Archeops attack here.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't get to see what else was in the hand either for Gustavo, but going straight into the Primal Turbo. Maybe we just see a Stampede from the button. No, I'm just kidding.
Imagine. Yo, Stampede does set up for a double dip Fangs later on. You know, one less energy.
True.
The math checks out.
Taking a little Stampede. That is so funny.
Maybe not today, though, as we are seeing some energy prepped on to that Archeops, a capture and an powerful going down, so that'll be enough to allow this Archeops to speed wing for the KO into the Regidrago, which as of now is Peter's only real way to draw cards. But Peter actually is sitting on a Roxanne in his hand, another interesting tech supporter that he's playing in this deck.
Yeah, absolutely, and of course, if Gustavo takes another prize card, that Roxanne does become eligible to be played, which would put Gustavo to only 2 cards drawn. And
does find the replacement stadium now for Peter.
Top decking it.
This is going to be a pretty big turn for Peter. Quick Ball can get rid of that one of Battle VIP Pass that he plays, by the way. Haven't even gotten a chance to talk about that one. And that can search him out, any basic Pokemon, put it into play, and then Roxanne, putting Gustavo down to just 2 cards. And if off of Peter's 6, he can find a way to launch an attack this turn. That is actually going to put Gustavo in kind of an interesting spot off of these 2 cards. He may be in a tough, a little bit of a pickle.
Yeah, you have to find some sort of way to recover from that, especially if it's a very, very bad 2 cards.
And that is definitely a card Gustavo was not expecting to see.
Oh, but you absolutely hate to see it. That is for sure. Roxanne is never a fun one to have to deal with. You only get 2 cards, your opponent gets a fresh 6, and Peter has gotten that stadium bump, that disruption needed, and could turn the tides here in this game, especially if we see the elimination of the Archeops, which is going to be the sole way Gustavo is accelerating these energies.
Peter needs to find Regigigas here, and he's got plenty of ways to do it. Quick Balls and the Regigigas itself.
Or you just draw it,
yeah. That works just fine indeed. Now Ancient Wisdom can be utilized, and Terra Spark's going to start to spread some more damage into play, putting 40 more onto this Oranguru, assumedly, and also 40 onto the 60 HP Pumpkaboo.
Yup, ticking things down, kind of setting a timer here for Gustavo.
Yep.
Gustavo was able to wipe all of that damage off the board from the Lugia V-Star, but now things are getting heated for sure with more damage counters being placed all over the field. Another Ordinary Rod, of course, we also saw that last turn on Peter's side to shuffle those Pokemon back in. And guess what, Chip?
Of course, Jirachi's coming back.
Yeah. I think that was actually some of the only options in there. No, I think there was more.
Yeah, it was Jirachi and I think one of the Reggie Pokemon. I think it was the Reggie Alecki, or maybe Reggie Drago, yeah, because that is what got knocked out last turn.
Oh, you're right,
I think
yes.
at this point in the game, we can probably leave the Jirachi in the discard pile, but maybe it's Peter's mascot here. He wants to bring it back just in case.
That's for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a little Jirachi plushie out there as well, honestly. All right, here we go. A Speed Lightning Energy and a Capture being retrieved out of the discard pile from that Ancient Wisdom. We're going to see the knockout here on that Archeops, the damage being placed onto the bench Pokemon as well. Ooh, this is tough here, and of course taking a prize card for Peter.
Yeah, it does grab a quick ball out. What does Gustavo have? And this hand is not great. It's double Evolution Incense and the Radiant Charizard. And of course, Radiant Charizard cannot really attack cheaply at all right now. Not only has Peter not taken many prize cards, but Path to the Peak is also in play. Gustavo's only attacking option is realistically this Archeops right now.
Yeah, that's not what you want to be attacking with. That is a liability if I've ever seen one, Chip.
I think Gustavo is really going to be relying on the Primate Wisdom right here, hoping to find a supporter.
Let's see what it is. Oh, did you see it, Chip?
I have not seen it. Radiant Charizard comes down, and it is a, I think it's a research. I'm pretty sure Gustavo just drew a research.
Off the Wisdom?
Off of that one card.
Wow.
Is going to thin the Archeops out of the deck.
Wow, that would be absolutely huge. Telling you, Oranguru always coming in clutch in these matches.
It finds a way to make it work. I mean... Yeah.
Sitting there on the bench to just being an absolute supporter here, and that is what it's going to be, that Oranguru getting the professor's research off of the top there, and that's going to be a fresh 7 cards, exactly what Gustavo wanted to see after working with such a slim hand off of a Roxanne.
Yeah, what an insane draw. The Guru really carrying the weight here. It might be chilling in a hammock on that card, but he, he's laid back because he knows how important he is to the team.
Absolutely. Here we go.
Now, Gustavo, I think maybe his best choice here is actually going to be to capture down. Oh, it's kind of awkward because you can't put double turbo energy on the Lumineon and still get a KO on the Reggie Alecki this turn. He didn't draw into the Alecki, or sorry, the Lumineon or a Quick Ball or anything like that here. I think that would have been his best attacker here. As it stands, though, he's really got no great options to attack Reggie Alecki here for a KO. He can knock it out with Archeops, but I think if he does that, he may just lose this game inevitably.
Absolutely. Oh, we are going to see that energy being placed onto the Archeops here. I know these turns get so much more difficult when you're only dealing with one Archeops in play.
Right.
You have to divide your energy so sparingly and strategically, and that is what we're seeing from Gustavo, just making every decision. I mean, these are tough decisions.
Yeah, Gustavo is honestly just not in a great spot right now.
Yeah. Things have really turned around.
Yeah, absolutely. He's thinking about grabbing a Lugia. There's also Dunsparce. There's also Stoutland that could be an option, but does finally settle on the Lumineon after really kind of going through all the different possibilities.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Lumineon is going to be played down, just shuffling up the deck here.
Yeah, not often you see people capture energy for that Lumineon.
No.
Archeops has not used Primal Turbo just yet. Oh, Gustavo does have the Escape Rope in hand. That's a tech item card that he plays. You don't see too often in these Lugia lists.
And it's going to be played here right now. So Peter having to choose first what to promote into the active position, and Gustavo is going to promote a new Pokemon as well.
Yeah, thinking about it, I mean, I think Reggie Drago could be okay. It looks like Peter has a Regirock in the hand, so that might be why we're seeing this come to the active.
Solid, solid. Here we go, Lumineon coming into the active position here on Gustavo's side.
And we might just see Primal Turbo load a double turbo and an Aurora up on this Lumineon and an Aqua Return for just 100 damage.
Yeah, you want to be Aqua returning for knockouts usually, that is for sure. This is a tough spot to be in, but like you said, Chip, it's kind of the only thing we're going to be seeing here. Aqua returning for that damage and then shuffling that Lumineon back into the deck here, promoting the Pumpkaboo that has 40 damage on it into the active position, but that Archeops is now safe there on the bench, at least for now.
And I think the draw for turn on Peter's end was a Professor's Research, so that could dump the hand out and try to find a scoop up net, get this Regirock out of here, and maybe go for, we're seeing
no, that's
the
a copycat.
Yeah. Well, he drew the research as well.
Okay.
Just chose to go for the copycat.
Here we go, copycats. We don't get to see that one too often
Yeah,
either,
I'm honestly
Tim.
surprised we even have it in our card database because this is,
like,
this is not a card that is played too often. You shuffle your hand into your deck and then draw a card for each card in your opponent's hand.
Absolutely. Can be very great if your deck doesn't play a lot of disruption cards where you're dwindling down your opponent's hand. I didn't actually see how many cards were in hand for Gustavo either, but however many there are, Peter's going to be drawing the equivalent.
It's looking like 4 or 5 cards maybe, and does find Scoop Up Net. Okay, that's really strong. Get this Regirock out of the active spot and go for a Terra Spark, once again taking a 2-prize knockout here.
Absolutely. First, we're going to see that Energy Lotto, though, making sure to just clear anything out here of the deck. Of course, you want to see those energy in the discard pile.
Yep, grab them out of the deck so that you can discard them or get them attached.
True.
Aurora Energy as the draw is pretty good.
Yeah, Reggie always allows you to manually attach two, and Aurora lets you discard another card, so always great utility in these Reggie decks for sure.
Yep, and does have the Scoop Up Net, has an Aurora, and actually an Ultra Ball as well. So Peter is sitting on a pretty great hand here.
Yeah.
Has plenty to, I mean, he can respond to any knockout Gustavo could take next turn.
Yep, and that's where these Reggie decks come in and just strive here. Scoop Up Net wiping away all of that damage that was on the Regirock. And that Regieleki being promoted into the active. Now all 6 Reggie are in play. Oh, looks like time has also been called as well.
Yeah, so that'll make Peter turn 0 here. And I think with this, it should just lock up a win for Gustavo. Gustavo is a really smart player. He's not going to put a 2-prize Pokemon in play that would allow him to lose the game. As it stands, he has only single-prize Pokemon in play, so all he has to do to win this match is just not give up 3 prize cards. So, or yeah, and Peter's even at 5 prize cards. What am I saying? Yeah, so Gustavo can't win this game, but he also, yeah, there's just no way Peter's taking 5 prizes.
Yeah, I was having so much fun watching this game. I didn't even realize how quickly the time was going, Chip.
Yep. It is wrapping up here. Peter being turn 0 will take 2 prizes here. So that does get him down to just 3 remaining. But yeah, I think that's, yeah, there's just no shot that he can take 3 prizes next turn.
In one turn, yeah. Yeah, of course we go 0, 1, 2, 3, so.
Yeah, thinking of where this damage should go, looks like Archeops will be the choice. And 2 energies do have to go to the discard pile. 2 prizes taken for Peter. He would tie this game up. And honestly, I think if this game played out, he's in a good spot to have potentially won.
Yeah.
But realistically, Gustavo could just pass and be fine. I think he will at least go down swinging, take the knockout, knowing that his opponent can't really win the game. You know, Gustavo will be turn 1 here. Peter will be turn 2. Gustavo turn 3.
Absolutely. Working with a fresh 7 cards here off of the research, though, going back into the deck with an Evolution Incense. Just thin in some cards.
I don't even think there's an option anymore. He's thinned so well throughout this game.
I know, right? No, I love watching Gustavo play. Every match I've watched from Gustavo has just been amazing gameplay. Some of the most inspirational plays. Gustavo's such a helpful player out there as well. Fan favorite too. Wrote an entire super long thread article on Lugia a little while back that is just like, it's great when you see players like that helping, you know, others who might be newer to the game or just trying to up their competitive spirit. And Gustavo's one of those very helpful team players. So
yeah, not only is he one of the best players, but he's an excellent ambassador for the game as well.
Absolutely. All right, here we go. So we are going to see that knockout there on that Regieleki, and this is Peter's last turn to take.
Yep, and because this is a best of 3 and we are in time during game 2, if game 2 does not find a natural conclusion, if neither player satisfies one of the 3 win conditions in the Pokemon TCG, that means the person who won game 1 would be the winner of the match. In this instance, of course, that would be Gustavo Wada.
Absolutely. Here we go. Peter's still playing out this turn, though. I think Peter has given us one of the most exciting games I have ever casted, and I'm super thankful for that. Just going to take the knockout here on that Archeops, going down another prize card to 2, but this is going to be the last turn here, and we are seeing the handshake. Gustavo Wada is going to be our victor there.
I think we all know who the real winner is, and that's Peter
Radiant
with his
Jirachi.
Radiant Jirachi, without a doubt. Congratulations to both of these players, and congratulations to Gustavo finding a way to navigate an improbable scenario. Your opponent flips 3 double heads in game 1, and you still find a way to win the game. Very excellently navigated, and Gustavo puts himself in an excellent spot to make yet another top cut at an IC.
Yeah, I'm definitely not surprised by that at all. You know, such a champion of the game, flawless play, even being faced with those Jirachi rolls, Gustavo was just laughing it off because really there's nothing you can do about that, and it's really fun to see the innovation from your opponents come out to the field and to get to be a part of that history that we see on the stream as well. Such a fun match, and I'm sure both of our players had a great time there. Such great spirit of the game.
Without a doubt, yeah, that will put Peter at an 8-3-1 record, which is going to put him unlikely, I think, to make it into cut at this point. There is still a chance if you win the last 2, you find yourself in a spot where you could be sitting at 31 match points.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a world with some weird natural ties in these next couple rounds where 31 match points could be enough. I'm thinking it's unlikely, though. 32 is probably going to be the minimum needed. So we'll see if Peter can fight it out, and we'll keep you updated